Hi, everyone, and welcome back to VLGA Connect. On the program today, I can't believe it's the first time we've sat down with Deborah Wu, who's the Inclusion and Diversity Lead at VLGA, to talk about an upcoming project. Hi, Deb, and welcome.
Hi, Chris. It's great to be here.
So, this Welcoming Cities project, you're looking to get councils and councillors involved. How's the project come about? What's the VLGA's involvement?
It's something that we took to Welcoming Cities about a year ago, or almost 2 years ago, actually, because it was around the local government elections in 2020. It's hard to believe that it's been that long.
Yeah.
But looking at the diversity of the candidates that were standing for election, that were seeking information about how they might stand and looking for role models. So, this project is really looking at how we can leverage the experiences of current councillors from diverse backgrounds, particularly diverse cultural backgrounds, and especially looking at those from non English speaking backgrounds. And looking at their experiences, what have the barriers been, what have the challenges been, what have the rewards been, and those enabling factors as well, and looking at capturing those and those stories to enable success for a future generation of culturally diverse leaders.
And there's been a lot of great stories out of that last election, haven't there? Of, particularly, for example, coming to mind, Melbourne's West, we've got a Vietnamese mayor in the city of Brimbank. We've got the youngest mayor ever at the city of Maribyrnong, just for two examples. So I guess you're looking to harness all of those broad experiences that they're bringing for the first time, in some cases, to the role of councillor in local government in Victoria.
Yeah, certainly. There's been some amazing stories coming out of those most recent elections, and some really inspiring stories about councillors that have overcome some adversity to get to where they are and really be leading and delivering for their communities.
So tell us about Welcoming Cities. Some people may have heard of it. What and who are they?
Well, Welcoming Cities is an initiative of Welcoming Australia, and what they really try to do is to support local councils and their communities to become more welcoming and more inclusive. Some councils may have heard of the Welcoming Cities Standard. There are a number of Victorian councils that have signed on to the Welcoming Cities Standard, but really it's about embracing the reality of diversity and then accommodating that by being inclusive and welcoming.
So there's a range of things that you're looking to do under this banner. What's first cab off the rank? Because I understand you're looking for those councillors to actually become involved in some way.
Yeah, so the first cab off the rank is actually this week on Thursday, the 3rd of March. The councillors are coming together for the first time. So it's not too late to express interest in getting on board if you're a culturally diverse council that wants to be involved. And it's called the Stories for Success Working Group of diverse councillors. So they're really coming together, having a chat about what those challenges were, what those barriers were, and what those rewards were. To have to really start to shape the project and what the resource will look like. What would they have really liked to see when they were running? What would have helped them to take that first step and decide to run?
So Stories for Success sort of implies that you're going to gather those stories and share them in some way, tell the stories more broadly. Is that the idea?
Yeah, so one of the things that Welcoming Cities has done really well is storytelling. So they quite regularly collect case studies from councils around Australia that are doing some really great work with their communities and bringing them into resources that can then be accessed by other councils. So that's effectively what we're doing here. We will be interviewing the councillors in the working group and outside of it if there's councillors that don't necessarily have the time to commit to the group but still have stories to tell. So we'll be capturing those case studies in a resource that will be released publicly.
How long do you expect all of that to take? What's your time frame?
We've got a pretty tight timeline. I'm hoping that over the next few months we'll really get moving. So we've got that first meeting this week. And then over the next few months, we will be doing the interviewing and then really cobbling that all into a resource and hoping to get that out because there's another exciting part of the project Chris,
Yeah.
that I'll have to tell you about soon. But
You
that
can't
is,
tell us now, Deb. Is it a secret for the moment, is it?
oh, I think it's been discussed publicly, but I reckon we can go into a little bit more detail. But it will be actually something close to your own heart, Chris, an
Oh, good.
incubator at the City of Whittlesea and the City of Casey for young and diverse leaders. Um, so hopefully this resource will feed into that as well.
That sounds very exciting, and that sort of feeds into where my mind was going for the next question, which is about what sort of targets, I guess, or outcomes do you have in mind in terms of the next electoral cycle from gathering this sort of information?
Well, I guess this is a pilot. I should preface by saying that. So we have funding for the next 12 months, but we would really like to see more people like a Jasmine Wynn, like a Anthony Tran, putting their hand up for the first time, and really having that support of their communities, knowing how to do that, feeling supported in doing that, and inspired to do it by those amazing role models that are out there. And hopefully we see some more representation. If you look at the census data that shows the proportion of the Victorian population that are either born overseas or have at least one parent born overseas, it doesn't really match up with the representation that we see on our councils. Particularly, those councils where you know that you have a much higher population, not all of them are necessarily matching that. So we'd really like to see councils be more representative.
Now, you mentioned it's a pilot, so can we assume from that that this hasn't been tried anywhere else that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, certainly not in a Victorian context. But obviously, where we're looking at a resource of case studies, they'll be unique each time based on the
Yes.
people that are
Yeah.
contributing. But certainly, the incubator that we're working on, I do think it is the first time that that's been done.
So I wonder whether this could be seen as a model then more broadly across the country, and our audience for VLGA Connect is becoming more and more Australia-wide as we produce more episodes. Would you like to see this picked up and replicated in other states potentially?
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see it picked up and replicated in other states. I think that there's some real opportunities here to truly support the participation of people from diverse communities, beyond just having one leader that is often consulted, to be able to empower every member of that community to put their hand up and have their say if they want to. And it's not just about becoming councillors or becoming elected, it's also about being able to engage effectively with local government.
It occurs to me that having Welcoming Australia and the Welcoming Cities program on board gives you that platform to potentially see this grow more broadly. So fingers crossed that that might be one of the outcomes. I'm also thinking about how it's that old thing of you can't be what you can't see type thing. This is at the elected level. Councils have just put together their first 4-year workforce plan under the Local Government Act, which has got to have inclusion measures, not just gender, but this could potentially feed into that sort of thinking that permeates into council organisations as well, yes?
Yeah, I really think that there's some opportunities for us to see councils taking steps to support their workforces. Definitely seeing community members being able to see themselves in those roles within council. But I would say that a lot of councils do have pretty diverse workforces. It's really taking that additional step and bridging the gap, which is, I think, what this project seeks to do, in that representation at the community level, at the workforce level, seeing that in the elected representative level, or that advisory level as well.
Very true. Well said. So, in terms of next steps for this part of the project and the councillor involvement, how can people find out more, and when can we expect to see more information coming forward?
There should be more information in the next few weeks to a month, I guess. But if you are a councillor from a diverse cultural background and you're wanting to get involved, give me a call or send me an email. I'd be more than happy to hear from you, and so would Davey, our project officer. So yeah, we're really keen to see some more people on this working group. We've had some great interest so far. but the more the merrier.
Excellent. All right, get in touch with Deb at the VLGA. Thanks for coming on to the program and telling us about that, Deb, and all the very best with it. I'm sure it'll be very successful.
Thanks, Chris.
That's Deborah Wu, the Inclusion and Diversity Lead at the VLGA, telling us about that Welcoming Cities project, Stories for Success, it's called, and we look forward to hearing more about that. And thank you for joining us. We'll be back with more VLGA Connect very soon.